Falling Stars by Played Crowd 5610. Chapter 11. How convenient. Summary. Let's try this again. Bumblebee stood just outside the medbay doors, taking in a deep invent. He had heard about how angry Danny had been that morning, especially towards Optimus. The Prime had excused himself from the medbay, an exile that B knew was self-imposed rather than enforced. B wasn't sure what exactly had gone wrong down between them, but he did know one thing. Danny had a temper when it came to protecting others. And now, with Starscream unconscious and still hooked up to Ratchet's medical equipment, B figured it was best to make sure things stayed calm when the Seeker woke up again. He offered to be the other mech in the room when Starscream woke up, bolted down to the berth or not. It was clear that there should be at least 2 mechs in there with him in case Ratchet needed help. Not that Bumblebee would ever imply that Ratchet would need help doing his job, but better safe than sorry. He glanced back towards Optimus, who stood in the main room, optics dim as he stared up at the monitors, likely mulling over what to do next. B shook his helm and knocked lightly on the medbay door. He heard Ratchet mutter something through the door that sounded like an invitation, and B pressed the door lock pad. The door slid open smoothly, closing behind him with a soft hiss once he stepped inside. The first thing B noticed was Danny, sitting on the edge of the berth next to Starscream. His arms were at his sides, and his expression tense. He glanced over from where he was watching Ratchet and over to Bumblebee. At first, Danny looked ready to scowl, probably thinking Optimus had returned. But upon recognizing B, his face brightened slightly. "Hey, it's you again." "Yeah, I was just coming in to check on everyone. Heard Op got banned." B joked, shrugging his shoulders. Danny chuckled lightly, but it didn't seem like he meant it. He kicked himself out. "But I was close to doing it anyway." Ratchet, who had been studying the monitors, lifted a service absentmindedly. It would probably be better for Starscream to wake up without a mech Optimus' size looming over him anyway, especially after Megatron. That's likely what triggered his panic in the first place. Then he nodded at Ratchet's words, then turned his attention back to Bumblebee. B took a moment to observe him. The kid looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, and tension held tight in his shoulders. "You doing okay?" B knew the human probably wasn't, but it still felt right to ask. Then he hesitated before exhaling. "Tired. And I feel bad for leaving Starscream earlier. He ran a hand through his hair. "If I had been in here at first and not..." He sighed, not knowing the words. "Now we just have to wait for him to wake up again, do some more checks, and figure out this whole dumb situation. You needed a breather. It's not your fault he woke up the second you left. He hadn't moved in 5 days. Ratchet glanced up from his PDA. Starscream has always been a mech, known for his inopportune timing. Then he gave a half shrug, clearly not convinced. But before Bumblebee could push the matter, a faint sound drew their attention. B's optics flickered towards Starscream. As the Seeker shifted slightly, his wings twitched, his ventilations hitching unevenly. A quiet, distorted murmur left him as he started to move his arms, a clang sounding as his restrained service caught on the cuffs. Bumblebee straightened instantly, preparing for what was next. Then he leaped to his feet, already rushing over to the Seeker's helm to try and calm him down. Bumblebee really hoped the outcome of Starscream waking up would be different than last time. Out of the corner of his optic, he also saw Ratchet tense, preparing himself to grab his medical tools. "Hey, Starscream," Danny said softly, waiting for the con to wake fully. "You're safe. I'm right here." Starscream's optics flickered online, unfocused at first, his frame tense as he processed his surroundings. His service curled weakly, clawed digits scraped against the berth as his processor fought against the fog of unconsciousness. Then he leaned forward, keeping his voice steady. "It's alright, Starscream. You're still in the medbay. Megatron isn't here. You're not in danger." B stayed where he was, watching the interaction carefully. Starscream's optics focused on Danny, his frame shifting slightly before relaxing again. He made a low, grumbled sound, his vocalizer crackling with static. Starscream grimaced. So did Bumblebee. Then he frowned. "Your vocalizer's pretty ragged." He leaned closer. "We're going to have to take a look at it." Starscream's plating puffed up defensively, but he didn't thrash out or try to move. "I know, it's not the most comforting place," Danny continued, noticing Starscream's unease. "But you're at the Autobots' base. They found us in the forest, brought us back, and fixed you up. You wouldn't be alive right now if it weren't for them." Starscream's optics narrowed slightly, his expression skeptical, but he didn't try to pull away. "They're not going to hurt you," Danny said firmly, leaning closer. "They didn't hurt me. And I wouldn't let them hurt you, I promise." Ratchet, standing nearby, cleared his throat, drawing Starscream's attention. "As much as I despise the Decepticons, I assure you no harm will come to you here, as long as you don't provoke it." Starscream huffed weakly, a burst of static escaping his vocalizer, which was likely meant to be a sarcastic comment or angry threat. Danny smiled. "See? Ratchet's got that whole grumpy but well-meaning doctor thing going on. He might snap at you, but you will be fine." Starscream glanced over at Bumblebee, then back at Danny. "He's okay, too. He's just here to help." Starscream rolled his optics. Ratchet muttered something under his breath about not tolerating insolence, but he stepped forward, his scanner activating as he checked Starscream's systems. Starscream winced as the scanner was held over his frame. "Your Amerigon levels are stabilizing, though your vocalizer is in worse shape than I anticipated." Both Danny and Starscream frowned. Starscream reached to the side for some of his tools. Starscream's optics flickered again, and he let out a low, crackling growl. Danny squatted Starscream's shoulder with the back of his hand, momentarily stunning the Seeker. "He's just trying to help. These aren't any torture devices or whatever it is you are worried about. I've seen them in Knockout's medbay all the time." Starscream met Danny's reassurance with a flat look. "Okay, well, I guess some of his tools are torture devices, but I know these aren't," Danny quickly explained. Ratchet rolled his optics, settling down his scanner and reaching for his tools. "If he's stable enough to glare at you, he's stable enough for me to work on his vocalizer. Starscream, try not to move while I make the adjustments." Danny leaned closer to Starscream. "It's gonna be fine. Just hold still and let Ratchet do his thing. I'll be right here the whole time." Despite trying to stay still, Starscream flinched slightly as Ratchet's tool got close to his throat cables. Instinct screamed at him to pull away, but he had nowhere to go. "Hold still!" Ratchet snapped, irritation lacing his voice. Starscream let out a low snarl before he could stop himself. Ratchet didn't miss a beat. "Don't get huffy with me, Starscream. I can always leave you here, tied to the berth, with no way to communicate. That's fine by me." Starscream scowled, but relented, gritting his dentine. He had no intention of being left mute any longer than necessary. The thought of having his words taken away from him, his strongest asset, threatened to drag him down further into this pit he was digging in his own processor. No, if he were going to be a prisoner, he would at least want to speak through it, even if it was only to tell his captors to frag off. The seeker focused himself to lay still as the medic continued his work, trying to keep a close optic on every movement from his most inconvenient position. Not that he could do anything about it if Roger decided to turn his tools against him. His limbs were restrained, and his frame was still too weak to fight back. It was a bitter reality, one that gnawed at the edge of his processor. He hated feeling vulnerable, hated being at the mercy of his enemies, being at the mercy of anyone. Megatron, the other bots, it could all be the same. They would all hurt him. They all think less of him. They didn't care whether he lived or died, only how useful he was at the moment. Naturally, they would try and convince him to join their cause and stop Megatron once and for all, but he won't. And the moment they realized that he would no longer be of use, they would discard him just as Megatron had. Starscream didn't realize he was caught up in his own processor until he felt a gentle touch against his plating. His optics shifted down to see Danny sitting there, with very rolling off of him in waves. Starscream would have scoffed if he didn't have a medic servo deep in his throat cables at the moment. Speaking of, Roger pulled back, settling his tools aside. There, try now. Starscream flexed his jaw, optics snaring as he tested his vocalizer. It reset with a sharp pop before static crackled through his first attempt at speech. How convenient, he rasped, voice glitching, but at least understandable now. Roger huffed. It will need more work and regular maintenance for the next few days if you want it functioning properly. Consider yourself lucky that I'll have had more than my share of experience with damaged vocalizers. Starscream scoffed, ignoring the rough patches in his voice. Honestly, I'm surprised, Doctor. I didn't expect much, seeing as your track record with vocal repairs has been so stellar. His optics flickered to the yellow scout standing nearby, still watching him with arms crossed over his chest plate. Bumblebee's field flared with outrage, door wings snapping up in an almost seeker-like display. Hey, Roger's just trying to help you. There's no reason to insult him. Starscream rolled his optics. Oh, forgive me. I am currently an prisoner. And you expect me to be polite to my captors when you won't even let me leave this accursed berth? He yanked on his restraints for emphasis. Then he swatted at the con's plating with the back of his hand. Starscream, I've been trying to convince these guys you're worth helping for the last week, and the first thing you do once you can talk is insult them? Roger let out a long, suffering sigh. I've heard worse. He turned back to Starscream, pointing a wrench at him. But if you ever want your vocalizer to fully function properly again, you will respect me, my medbay, and especially my Autobots. Starscream scoffed, turning his helmet to the side, but the medic didn't stop staring. Great. He expected an answer. Fine. Then he sighed heavily, rubbing his head as if trying to ward off an ache. Thanks for the help, Roger. He paused, leaning against the seeker. And I'm sure Starscream's thankful as well. Starscream scoffed. I don't do gratitude, inwardly cursing his vocalizer again for not being able to get his point across. Roger let out an exasperated sigh. Yes, we've all noticed. He picked up a scanner and waved it over Starscream's frame one last time before putting it away. Now you need to recharge. Your systems are still recovering, and I'm not about to have a half-functional seeker causing more problems in my medbay. Starscream bristled. I do not need Ratchet didn't even let him finish. Yes, you do. He turned towards Bumblebee. You're leaving too. Bumblebee stiffened. What? But... Heap, heap, heap. I don't want to hear it. Ratchet said firmly. He's secured. He's not going anywhere, and he's clearly in no condition to hurt me. I will be fine, and so will Danny. Starscream's field filled with indignation. The implications that he was harmless sent a fresh wave of frustration through his systems. He was the air commander of the Decepticons, not some weak, grounded, but that is what he was. He was no longer the air commander of the Decepticons, and currently he was nothing more than a weak, grounded seeker, and he hated it. Bumblebee hesitated, looking between Ratchet and Starscream. Then his optics settled on Starscream for a long, assessing moment, taking in the cable still attached to his frame, and then he nodded. The nerve of that mech! Now you! Ratchet spun back to Starscream. Recharge. The Seeker flashed his fangs and was about to retort again when suddenly, Star! Danny scolded, the regular human speech accompanied by a click in his tone that was Voxian in nature, momentarily stunning the Seeker. It was the kind of sound that was used to chastise youngling Seekerlets when they weren't listening. Where did Danny even learn that? Starscream shot a glance up to Ratchet, who didn't seem to notice the strange click in the human speech. It would have been impossible to notice if he wasn't fluent in the language. It just sounded like a strange lit in the human speech pattern. Starscream simply met Danny with an upset glare for scolding him, but didn't say anything more. He then huffed, his optics turning away. Maybe he should tone it down a bit. He was already in custody with no idea what would happen to him. Or to Danny. It might be not the best idea to scare away the only medic currently willing to repair him. That didn't mean he had to like it, though. Starscream laid back against the berth, frame still tense. Maybe he was a bit more exhausted than he gave himself credit for, seeing as it only took a couple more moments for recharge to overtake him. Just as he was drifting off, he swore he heard a smug chuckle from the medic as he turned away. But by then, Starscream was too far gone to snap at him. And that was the chapter! I hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like. If you like my videos in general, feel free to subscribe and share the video. I do Podfic commissions. Infos to that are on the screen or in my channel description. And if you do commission me, you can get early access to my Discord server. Next are recording highlights.
Why are you shouting on the top of your lungs, Lily?
Because I like it.
Like this, Lily. Oh my god. Stop it. It's like a little bit quieter, like not all the way quieter. It's like 25% quieter. Okay, it's not a lot. It's not a big decrease, Lily. It really isn't a big decrease. Okay. You know, it's like it's this, and then like it's that, and then I don't know. What am I doing? Oh, you're recording all this shit. Okay.
Yes.
Fucking great. Yeah.
I'm putting that in the video.
You're not gonna put this part in the video. Absolutely not.
Taking in a deep vent. If those notification sounds are in my recording, I would need to do this all again.
Not all again, no. It's just that with the one part.
Where was I? And over to Bumblebee. At first, Danny looked ready to scowl, already rushing over to the Seeker's helmet, out of the concern of his optic. No, not concern. Taking away from his most inconvenient position. One that Gnard. No, wait. Is it Gnard? Zach?
Nod.
Gnod. Okay.
Nod.
Gnod?
Nod.
Nod?
You don't pronounce the G.
Nod. Okay. Dad will nod at the edge of his processor. No. Consider yourself lucky that I've had more than my shit. Consider yourself lucky that I have. Roger let out an Roger let out an extravagated sigh. Heap, heap, heap. Is it heap?
Sure, why not?
Have a fun rest of. No, wait, what did I say? What is my outro again?
Oh my god, Lily.
Enjoy the rest of your time. See you next time.